ground. Now, stuff that's deep below the ground, it's surrounded by water, and is bombarding that water, making greater and greater amounts of tritium. No way to recover it now. It's too far down, very difficult to detect. And the water, there's a layer of water down there so dangerous that it's not clear how they're going to reach the corium if they can even detect it. So we're getting massive amounts of the tritium, and we're getting this sort of constant haze all across the north, this white haze. Oh, when I was in Fukushima in 2013 summer, I saw these, and the locals told me about it, these tritium clouds, tritium fog on the water. It's rectangular. It is not round like normal clouds. It's fog. It actually forms a rectangular belt around the cape there. They had to build these massive seawalls, 2.5 stories tall, and they blocked off all routes to the sea to try to stop the tritium from reaching people. So obviously it was dangerous. People I knew, they're all died since then. So the tritium bomb, they were scared. They said, we were scared before of what happened to Fukushima, but they've never seen anything like this white fog, they call it. It's miasma. I remember I told you.
Yeah, miasma, yeah.
Yeah. So dense, you can't see through it. It's very opaque, and that is now starting to cover the entire northern hemisphere. And let's hope not the entire planet, because there'll be nothing left otherwise. So basically, this is going to build up. See the weather effects right now. Later, you're going to see technological effects. The health effects are going to be there. You're going to see. By the way, I did get hit when I was in Japan with this tritium, because my train went through Fukushima Prefecture, and after that, I went to Hokkaido to the north, radioactive reservoir of Tokyo. Broke out in a big rash on my shoulders, both sides equally. And I said, well, it can't be bugs, because bugs would be more on either side. There's no bugs in the sea.
No, of course.
So I couldn't figure it out. And then also the scabs. There were like maybe 100 little pinpricks, 60 on each arm, okay, on the upper arms, shoulders, neck, few on the scalp. And the scabs were very hard, like very hard as a rock for some. So the tritium, obviously, some of that. The reason they're like pinpricks, because I do eat noodles and things in Japan. You can't help it. You got to eat something there. Drink tea and things like that. Usually tritium's in the body, and it's sweated out through your pores. But it comes down, in this case, through the neck of my jacket, because I wasn't wearing a hood. It was in the air. And so through my jacket, it had contact with the upper part of my body. It's taken me, since Japan, only now, in the last couple of days, finally rid of most of the scabs. There's still some residue, but, this is something new. I didn't get these effects before. I still got a few of the same old, cesium, strontium effects, your moles sort of swelling up and things like that. Your eyes burning like heck, that's similar. That's familiar to me. But the tritium effect is new. It's very scary, because while there may be some way to protect yourself if the weather is dry and all that, and you shield yourself, there's no way you can stop. It's unstoppable.
Doesn't sound like it.
Pervasive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unstoppable. It's everywhere. It's going to be outdoors, indoors. There's no way around it. When you're driving in your car, there's no way around it. You shut the vents. Water is pervasive. Water, the water in the air.
Moisture, sure, of course.
It gets through everything.
Yeah,
it gets through everything. There's no way, there's no barrier against it. So wherever there's any kind of moisture in the air, and and it's usually 50, 60, in most places except the desert. You're going, but even now the deserts are quite wet. We've irrigated the desert, so
that's right.
There's right now no defense against this stuff. It's everywhere in the northern hemisphere. It's going to start taking a toll. Vegetables, animals are very, very.
I was going to say it's going to get totally into the food chain. It already is, and there's nothing we can do about it.
It's even worse now. Yeah, I think this winter is kind of a turning point. These just signal another turning point. I say, the situation has just got.
Well, they stopped the blocking. They stopped the blocking in the northwest, and we've been getting just snow, 4 snows in 2.5 weeks, from 2-3 inches to a foot. Never seen it like that ever. Rain, but constant.
I guarantee you, there'll be a quick breakdown of that snow because of the tritium content.
You're right. I've already noticed that.
It'll melt off. Yeah, it just goes. It breaks apart. It doesn't melt so much. It does melt because tritium is highly energetic. There's a lot of energy there. It generates heat energy, but it's more from the crystal and the fact that its melting point is minus. breaks down the ice crystals.
You know what else is weird? Getting snow when it's in the high 30s, not down to freezing. That may be coming from chemtrail spraying.
It's snowing. Well, no. See, the thing is, it's snowing. It's cold up there, but the mass of air coming down is so radioactive. It's heating up
Makes
as
sense.
it comes down. So basically, we're having these very weird things. Scientists aren't really studying it. The NOAA is completely a useless agency. It's just there for U.S. Meteorological Service. Absolutely useless. Canadians, of course, in total cover-up mode.
They've just elected their own version of Obama, this Trudeau kid. They're in trouble. Remember the keyword tritium now. Probably the #1 emission from Fukushima and over here, and doing lots of things. And yes, climate is changing now, but not for the reasons that has anything to do with carbon dioxide or our carbon dioxide footprints. The catastrophe is certainly manifesting itself over there, but it's also manifesting itself here. We're just not seeing it as radical as we will. It's coming. A major Japan newspaper reported that they're admitting, these were covered up before, but Fukushima has caused mutations in nearly every single fir tree located anywhere near the plant itself. These are mutations. The forests, as Yoshi has mentioned before, all contaminated. He had a beautiful cabin up there. He can't go back there. Insects are showing up with gross malformations, missing legs, eyes, crooked. They don't even look right. Abnormalities being found in mammals, monkeys, fish, and frogs. I got the story up in the top center column. It's all there, and it's going to show up here. I had last summer, as I told you, the common wild mustard plant, which grows about 2 to 3 feet tall, has yellow little blossoms on it at the end of the summer. Well, I had several. I think there were 2, 4, 6. I think there were 8. They were between 8 and 10 feet tall, and I took pictures of them. I couldn't reach up to the top of them. So, yeah, that's another impact of radioactivity, messing with the genetics of plants. So we're going to have more and more over here. It's just not going to stop. And I am appalled at how when they own the media, Yoshi, they can do whatever they want. And we just don't hear about anything over here. We don't see anything. Fukushima doesn't exist.
You got to write about the media, but it's part of a much larger chain of command.
Oh, of course.
Goes right up to the international organizations that are euphemistically banded together with the United Nations, but the IAEA is a nuclear watchdog over the public. It's there to protect the nuclear industry. Unfortunately, there's a very small handful of people. We really have to wonder if there's a larger agenda behind this, because...
Well, it's the pro-nuclear agenda. That's what it is.
Pro-nuclear and anti-human.
Anti-human, absolutely. They don't care about it. They can kill 5 or 6 billion of us, and it won't matter to them. By the way, there has been not one word from Leningrad since we reported on this. I keep looking, nothing. And they usually say, well, we fixed the problem. It's okay. It's taken care of. Not a single story can I find.
Yeah, it's time for the Russians to fess up here. They supply a lot of gas, natural gas to Europe. They can use some of that gas now that Ukraine is gone, doesn't want Russian gas. Channel that gas over to the power plants in European Russia.
They should.
It's not just Japan, it's not just India, it's not just the U.S., England, all the usual suspects. It's all the new players, the emerging players, who are even more nuclear because they see the U.S. is a nuclear bully, Japan is a nuclear power, South Korea is a nuclear power. They all want to play catch and compete. So China talking about building 400 new reactors in the next 10 years. Look what we set up. If we had used Fukushima and said we've got to go non-nuclear, I think Russia and China would have played ball. But right now, they're in a feisty mood. They said, you guys pushing us around. You want to build reactors. Shinzo Abe is out there, the world's reactor salesman. You expect us not to go in there and compete with them? So,
well, I'd love to see Putin take the lead on this.
I wish you would. I wish you would show some leadership on something really good here and positive for the Russian people, for the people of Europe. And as you know, some of the nicest parts of Europe, Sweden is being hit, Finland's being hit. Sweden is, they're going non-nuclear. But you can't control what your neighbors do. So,
no.
I think it's Leningrad power plant that other countries have to weigh in. China's got to start taking a stance. I was just in Beijing where I'm working on a book project, editing it. That massive smog that you heard. I used to teach in Beijing back in 2002 at Tsinghua University. I was the first foreign journalism teacher in Chinese history. There was no journalism training before that, so I was the first guy in.
Wow.
And soon out, but I was in there for a while. But I noticed the same problem with this smog is that they have controls on cars. There's better emissions control. There's a lot fewer smokestacks than before. You don't see any black smoke belching out of chimneys anymore. But what I did see was a pervasive white mist all throughout Beijing. And this is telling me, yep, Fukushima is here. And Fukushima is activating all these pollutants. And it's really the weird thing that I noticed in Beijing. I should have been having all sorts of problems with mucus, right? Runny nose. There was zero mucus. All my, sinuses
dried out.
Completely dry. I said, this is crazy. There's supposed to be all these car emissions and, coal smoke and all that. You can smell some coal smoke at night. Granted that.
Yeah.
But somehow the tritium, the radionucleotides in the air there were shutting down my mucus system. But, I got no natural filter. Your mucus is necessary, things like that, in your nose to block, capture that.
It collects all kinds of things. I had the same problem 2 to 3 weeks after the whole thing started in March of 11. And my nose went completely dry. My sinuses were completely dried out. They hurt. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, that's why everyone in Beijing now is buying these high-end 3M masks, to filter out everything. But what they can't filter out is the water in their own bodies. That's got tritium in it.
Right.
So it's kind of futile, but exactly this is one of the strange symptoms is your mucus. Is one of your primary defense systems for respiration for your lungs is shut down by this radiation. So it's leaving us defenseless. We have no defenses. You've got to stop it at the source. You've got to contain this leakage. You've got to shut down every nuclear plant in the world. We've got to somehow bury this fuel rods. We got to put this thing away at the source. Otherwise, there's no way to fight it. There's no way to shutting down our defense system. Immune system going up, like I say, with this rash,
Yes.
Shut down. It just shut down. The immune system, that's your natural filtering system, shut down. The radiation just
Well, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And there's no defense against what happens after that, the cancer, when my moles, on my back start to swell up and get hurt, and hurt again, and I treat it with citronella, with astragalus and all that. And gradually it calms down. That is the first sign of the onset in cancer, melanoma. And unless you treat it right away and fast, I know what to look for. You're going to get melanoma, and that's going to metastasize. And before you know, you're going to have cancer in every organ in your body.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, every part of your body, not just the organs. Yeah.
All
inside
true.
Your marrow, inside your bones, everywhere. So that's why this stuff is taking down all of our defenses. That we've got to take it down at its source. Now, President Obama, he's on his way out. It's time for him to face up to this. Otherwise, he's going to go out.
He doesn't care, Yoshi. He couldn't care less. He doesn't care.
Well, crimes against humanity, crimes when young people die.
Nobody's holding these people accountable. None of them.
He's young enough to still be around. Let's say once we start losing tens of millions of people, President Obama, the First Lady, his administration, most of them will still be alive for against humanity, for failing to do anything about this. Okay?
Right.
George Bush probably will still be alive in 20 years, for how long it takes for this, extermination event to go forward.
I agree.
biggest extermination event in history on our immediate horizon.